You're going to hear some, I guess, ASMR in the background because it is raining out. It is a pretty big storm right now, and I'm going to be looking back and forth between my phone, my computer, and you guys. But I want to tell you today about a comic book that I think really does deserve your support that we're learning more and more about. Now, I did talk about this briefly a little bit back, but in the 90s, there were not a lot, but a handful of crossover comics between things like Marvel and DC. And I would say even more common was things like DC crossing over with something else, like, DC with Spawn, Batman Spawn, things like that. I mean, it's like it was easier to get crossovers between one of the big two and maybe a smaller publisher because, they weren't feeling as much like they were competing with them for like major sales. Not to shit on Spawn or anything like that, but I think there's always been this rivalry with Marvel and DC that has made crossovers difficult to get going. And so later this year in 2025, we are actually getting two crossover issues, which I talked about before. Batman/Deadpool, I almost said Batman/Spawn, but Batman/Deadpool and Deadpool/Batman. They're two different things. So if you decide to pick these up, remember they are two different things. One is favoring more, Marvel publishing, one's favoring more DC publishing, obviously. And this to me is very important. We're learning more and more about it, but the reason it's important to me is I actually grew up in the 90s and into the 2000s. So even though they have problems, issues like this, like the Marvel versus DC comics, which I don't have issue 1 here because it's framed in the other room, but some of these issues, sorry for the glare, some of these things were actually very big deals to kids and teenagers growing up during that time because it was finally like a chance to see your favorite heroes from either side of the aisle, not that they're politics, but you know what I mean, actually team up together and see them, I think I went the wrong way, and basically see them face off. And you could even see characters like this, which was Amalgam Comics with Dark Claw. This is the only Amalgam Comics issue I have, like a single of, but where it was Deadpool combined with, Wolverine combined with Batman. I'm mixing up all my characters because of the new crossover. Now, later on, you would also get some things like Access, where they tried to actually tie these together a little more, and this character has gone on to largely be forgotten completely, which I think is a shame because he was interesting. But the reason that I talk about this is because I know comics don't need crossovers. I know nothing needs a crossover, right? But it's fun. The whole point of comic books was supposed to be tell interesting stories and be fun, And now I'm not saying they're not fun at all anymore, but I think with constant retcons, the inability to move characters forward and grow them because of editorial, you even see things like that with Spider-Man. A lot of these things have kind of weighed down comic books and kind of dragged the medium down, especially with Marvel and DC, both. So when there's a fun, unique, and interesting idea like this, I really do think it deserves support. And I have put my money where my mouth is on this, which I will show you in a minute, but I do have a question of the day for you today, which is, if you could see a story of two characters or even more from Marvel and DC, like you want these characters to meet and really interact, what would it be? Like, let's say you were like, man, I really want to see the Martian Manhunter from DC. I really, really, really want to see how he would interact with and be in a story with Cyclops, I don't know, from X-Men. If you have an idea like that, I would love to hear it, because there are going to be other crossovers in this story. It's not just Batman and Deadpool, and that's one of the things I think is interesting. Also, if you want to support the channel, you can leave a like and subscribe. Those things help us out a lot. We do have a Fortnite code, which is DJAY123, and at the end of the video, I'll tell you a little bit more about other ways to support this channel. By the way, the pussy cam is on right now. This is the closest we can get on YouTube. We got Luna back here, the pussy cat sitting in the chair. So that's fun. So if you like cats, you can see her taking a nap during the rainstorm. And I wanted to break down some of these crossovers for you. So first off, we are getting more and more information about who is going to be in this and who is going to be on it. But most of the information I've been seeing so far is about Deadpool/Batman #1, not Batman/Deadpool #1, although I'm sure we will get more of that. Now, there's more and more cover variants actually being revealed, with art by Greg Capullo Adam Kubert, many, many more, and even stories written by Zeb Wells, Kevin Smith, Kelly Thompson, Chip Zdarsky, which is a highlight for me. Chip Zdarsky is an amazing writer, and more. Now, I don't want to shit on anybody here. I have been very critical of Zeb Wells' time on Spider-Man in the past. That said, I know he's written other very good stories outside of that, so I have my fingers crossed that this will be one of them. I just hate that run of Spider-Man, but what run of Spider-Man have I not hated in the last handful of years that isn't either Miles Morales or the new Ultimate Spider-Man? There's not very many that I haven't disliked, so it's not exactly, uncommon. But basically, they're going through and they're not just looking at Deadpool and Batman, they're also going to be doing backup stories, or other stories, I should say, included in the books. Like, for example, what would happen if Crypto, Superman's dog, crossed over and met, of course, as well, someone like Jeff the Landshark? What would happen in that kind of case? And there are some different comments on this, like editor Mark Basso had shared, "We can't wait for fans to experience the same jaw-dropping moments that we are, and we've got more secret stories in the works, so keep your eyes peeled for more to be revealed," essentially saying that we're going to all corners of the Marvel and DC universes, and the creators are having an absolute blast finding unexpected and unexplored connections between these characters. So this is important, because here's the thing. Would it be easy, and would I love it, to just do another Batman/Spider-Man? Yeah, it probably would. I mean, the characters go together very well. To pair up some of the characters in the 90s series and things like this and just put them together again, I'm sure that would be like a very quick, low-hanging fruit thing you could do. And while I would love to see those characters catch up, I think it's interesting to actually see something totally new. And they went on, Chip Zdarsky even had a comment saying, "This has been surreal to say the least. Captain America and Wonder Woman are the best their worlds have to offer, both warriors for peace. Getting to explore a dynamic and history between them has been genuinely exciting." So you even see a crossover right there with two different ones. Thompson went on to also say, "Two icons meeting for the first time," regarding Jeff and, of course, as well, Crypto, essentially saying anyone who loves comics knows how rare it is for DC and Marvel to cross over. So Jeff getting to be a part of this historic moment with Crypto, and that it's going to be very cool. So there were a lot of fun things with this, and one thing I did want to mention is we have seen some other crossovers teased. Like, for example, in a recent previews issue, we saw a cover variant, I believe, where it showed Daredevil actually with Green Arrow. So there's a lot of things like that we can kind of look forward to. And the reason I think this is important is because I have been willing to kind of put my money where my mouth is on this in the past, because this is fun. I even went out of my way to actually buy, and they're still sealed right now. I've read them, but I want to read them again. I just haven't had time. The DC and Marvel crossovers. Sorry about, again, the glare. Hardcover omnibuses, which were way too expensive, I think, for a bit, but did get reprinted eventually and released. I did actually go out of my way to actually buy these omnibuses because I think these stories are fun. And for me, somebody who, I'm starting to get more into writing because I have a degree in writing, and I'm starting to get more into creative writing and trying to write my own books. And eventually I would love to write, characters in comics. But something for me with the creativity of comic books is that I want them to be stories that take chances, are creative, move characters along, and give you unexpected dynamics that maybe you didn't even know you wanted, but are actually at their core fun. That's why Deadpool and Batman meeting up and being in a book together, it's interesting to me because it's something fun. It's something we wouldn't see every day. It's not a rehash of a storyline we've seen 1,000 times. It's not a reboot or a retcon of something we've seen 1,000 times. It is fun at its core. And that's why I want people to support this. Now, at the end of the day, what you do with your money is obviously up to you. I don't control your bank account, nor do you mine. But I do think it's important if you want to see stories like this. Like, for example, Deadpool and Batman #1 is coming out, I believe, on the 17th of September, 2025. And I'm sure I will pre-order a couple covers of it just because I really want to support an idea like this. If you want to see creative stuff like this, right? If you want to see creative stuff like the newer Ultimate Spider-Man run and Ultimate X-Men and all those things, Ultimate Black Panther, all of them. You want to see kind of creative new stories like that. or you want to see creative stories like the DC Absolute comics, which are their own, kind of take on these characters, their own universe. You want to see those? Here's how the world works. Whether it's fair or not, people have to buy it. That's how it is. We could have 10 million people online, be insane, say something really positive about this book when it comes out, but if only 1,000 bought it, you'd never see a crossover like this again. That's why I talk about things like this, because while I wish that everything wasn't run by money, the unfortunate truth is we need money for people to actually have jobs, have a living, make things. And while I wish artists could just make things out of the goodness of their heart, believe it or not, artists and writers need to eat. And so for this kind of thing to happen again, I think it's very, very important that it is actually successful. And I think it's important that people show interest in it and actually show that they do care about these characters beyond just a DC movie or a Marvel movie, that they actually care about reading and care about books. It's interesting because Batman/Deadpool will also have a lead story written by Grant Morrison, who is very obviously a super, super talented writer. Thinking about this, it's crazy to me because for a long, long time, I didn't expect to see any more stories like this. I didn't know about ever, but not for many decades, because there has been a real push against it. And I believe during the Dan Didio arc, or I should say tenure at DC, there was a real push against these crossovers. And for me, I am very, very excited for it. So if you want to support it, I would at the very least check out the first issue, Deadpool Batman. It's in September. And then, of course, as well, Batman/Deadpool, which is essentially like the second one, but it's an issue 1 still. It's just the other way around. That is going to be in November of 2025. I recommend checking these out. I recommend supporting them if you like creative, fun ideas like this. And I say the same thing that I said about the Ultimate Spider-Man comics when I think I reviewed the first 3 to 5 of them. If you want to see ideas like this, unfortunately, even though I know we're all struggling, nobody has a ton of money, the way to see more ideas like this is to support it. And that's why I talk about it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to leave a like, if you agree, dislike it if you dislike. Hey, maybe you hate buying comics. I don't know. I don't care. Helps me get the video out there, and I do appreciate it either way. But if you want to support this channel, Fortnite code DJAY123, or we also have our own store, CosmoBunny.shop, where you can buy coasters, keychains, trays, and more. You might love comic books. Well, we take damaged and destroyed comic books, save some of that paper, transformatively through art, create a new form of media into a new medium with that, and then we recycle the rest. So we make new transformative art for your home, make sure the rest goes into recycling instead of the landfill. Very, very important to us. And of course, discount code DJAY123 will get you 10% off your first purchase over there. By the way, my wife Jill also makes wonderful handmade resin and beaded jewelry over there, which is fantastic. Love it. Highly recommend you check it out. And I did want to say really quick, we are doing a live stream, if you've stuck it out to this point, tomorrow on, I believe it's July 6th, yes, Sunday at about 4:30 p.m. US Central Time. Me and my old friend T, who just had a beautiful, wonderful daughter, fantastic family. T is going to be in our live stream. We're going to be playing Batman Arkham Origins for a while, hanging out with you, the chat, on this channel. Hope to see you there. Have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay shway.